Good morning, folks. Hello. Welcome to another Wealth Coffee Chat. Hope you're all awesome and well. Marvellous Monday. We're back at it, aren't we? Hey, good to see all of you. Jason Witten here. If you didn't already know, that's my name. But good to see a bunch of you online right now. Aaron, howdy. David, Florida. Florida's always Alison. Donna, hey. Fantastic to have along this morning. Adrian, happy Monday to you, mate. Good to see you. Go, Gemma's in the house. Thanks for joining. Another little Wealth Coffee Chat. Been doing this for a while. Do the intros just as things are warming up. Couple of sayings around here. The idea of building a property portfolio takes a bit of time, folks. So, you know, how it goes. It's a marathon, not a sprint. It's going to take some time. And listen, I think the simplest way to explain property investing for some medium to long-term wealth is about buying good properties that you're happy to own forever. That's a long time, but let's say forever. And keep them. Buy well, don't sell, don't muck around, don't sort of get halfway through and jump out of the mix. So there you go. So that's what this show is about. Many of you are in our coaching and mentoring program. So great to see you if you're here this morning from our coaching and mentoring. If you're not, if you're new, if you are, whatever it is, let us know in the chat. It's great to hear from you. We've got David. Was like a things on. We'll keep going. Doesn't matter what's going on. We'll work it out. Hey, good to see you. This morning, interesting article over the weekend that I thought I might talk about. It's the idea of the difference between cost and value. Cost and value. Sound is terrible, is it? All right. Let me see if I can switch this up, Brendan. Let me know in the chat if the sound is yucky, folks, and I'll change it up. Let me see if I can do this. All right. Give me a moment. Is that any better, Brendan? I've changed microphones and I think if that's any better for you, Brendan. And folks, anyway, so listen, the idea of cost and value, and there we go. Yeah, okay. Well, it looks like there's a little bit of internet issues at my end, but let's see. Let's see what's going on. Anyway, sorry, folks, but that's the way it is. Unfortunately, sometimes internet connection. I think you're dead, Alison. Oh, the best intentions sometimes just don't roll when it comes to this morning's coffee chat. But anyway, it looks like it's getting a bit stronger. But there you go. But here's the drill. This is what I saw on the weekend. I thought we might wax a bit of lyrical about this for a minute or two. Looks like the internet's back now, full strength. So hopefully that's better, folks. Median annual fees for financial advice have soared to $3,700, but research says that most people are only willing to pay $500. Wow. I've got an opinion about that in a minute. Financial advice figure is blown out by 48%, blah, blah, blah. And, in 2007, there's 3 million Aussies. Check this out. 3 million Aussies receiving professional advice. And then, we'll get rid of that. And then, so there's 3 million in 2007, right? And then it's dropped to 1.8 million despite, population growth over that period. So, the reason that happened, well, there's a fair few reasons, but one thing that happened in 2018, does anyone know what happened in 2018? Check this out. It was the Haynes Commission and the APRA investigation. So, here's what happened. The government, and in all their glory, does an investigation, finds some things that they should have been managing better anyway, in the first place, absolutely poleaxes an industry, mortgage broking, financial planning, and so on, right? And, the banks got in a lot of trouble, right? They ditched it. So it swung so far. Check that out. 2018, Bush down, right? Number of advisors, median number of advisors down. The average amount that the advisors were charging, hang on, there we go, went up. Now, I don't see a big problem personally about making sure that advisors, people who are taking care of you, are remunerated effectively. But, here's the problem. Here's the issue. Here's my issue with this, right? There's a bit of a complaint about, what's going on. Aussies aren't, it's too costly for, financial advice. So tell me in the chat, let's just do a little poll here, because this is where I think I want to check in on the psychology, the wealth psychology. So tell me in the chat, just give us a figure and a number. I want two numbers. Into the future, let's call it 20 years from today. 20 years from today, approximately, what do you want your wealth to be worth? Now, this could include, your home, some investment properties, a share portfolio. It can include, a commercial property. It can include your business, like net ballpark. What do you want your wealth to be worth, and what income do you want to create from it? Okay, so I'll give you an example. $8 million worth of wealth, creating $200,000 worth of income. Put that in the chat for me. Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat for me right now. What's your numbers? You can, shorthand it or whatever, because I want to check in on something here, because this is the interesting thing. I think there's a disconnection between, I think there's a disconnection in this conversation when it comes to wealth. Most people don't understand the difference between cost and value. Cost and value, folks. Cost and value. What is the number? Give it just a bit of a whirl in the chat. What's your rough number? 5 mil, 3 mil, 2 mil, 8 mil. What's the number? And your income. All right. What passive income do you want as you go along? Now, I don't know. No, I've got Jimmy here saying 5 million. All right. What's your number, folks? So let's just take it. Let's just say for most people I sit down with, all right, on average, they say at some point in the future, let's say 20 years from now, from today, they would like their wealth, to have anywhere between $3 and $8 million worth of wealth, and often anywhere between $100,000 to $200,000 of passive income. Right. So 3 million to 8 million, 3 to 8 million. $100,000 to $200,000 of passive income, and often we're talking about this being very efficient. Much of this income can be structured to be low tax or no tax, right? So here's the question. Get ready in the chat for me on this one, right? Get ready in the chat for me on this one, right? Perfect, right? 10 million, 8 years time, 3,000 per week. I like it, Jimmy, right? I think 3 to 4 million, 250K massive income. Perfect, David, right? So, this is the sort of thing we're sort of thinking, right? Okay, happy days. Now, let me ask you this question. And Jimmy and David, whoever else is listening in, we're looking to achieve something pretty significant over here, quite a lot of dollars. Along the way, if you were here today and I said to you, all right, well, listen, I said, listen, if you were to invest $3,750 per year, and that would go a long way to helping you achieve that goal, right? So $3,750 a year, right? Let's do the math on this, right? So 3,750 times that by 20 years, 75 grand, right? So would you invest $3,750 a year, which is tax deductible anyway, right? Would you invest $3,750 a year to help you achieve, let's say, $10 million and $3,000 a week per cash flow? $4 million and a $250,000 income, probably tax-free if you've done it right. Would you invest that? Like, put it in the chat. Give me a yes or a no. Do you think that it'd be worth investing to get all the info, to get all the assistance, to help stay on track, to understand the rules, to follow the process, to increase the likelihood of that significantly, if not, 10, 20, 50 fold, right? You don't. If you're crazy, you don't. You're dead right, folks. All right? Hell yes. And this is the interesting thing, which I think, it's a pretty interesting conversation. Most Aussies are only willing to pay $500 for some financial advice, right? Big yes for Jimmy. Brendan asks a question here. Sort of, does the 3 to 8 million have an optimal LVR? Well, it does, Brendan, based on the income. So it doesn't have to be a zero debt, folks. It's a zero debt. And depends on how, where you are in the strategy will depend, Brendan, on you always want to have access to lending in one way, shape, or form until that's it, you're done, no more, right? Which means keeping loan-to-value ratios open. I like the idea, Brendan, when you get your overall portfolio ratio below 50% loan-to-value ratio, some magical things happen. Your cash flow is significant. Your ability to, far outweigh any increases in costs, with your rent is, a no-brainer, okay? So between 30 and 50% is optimal loan-to-value ratio. 0, no debt on your principal place of residence, Brendan, is no owner-occupier debt on your principal place of residence is important. All right, because it's not tax deductible. It's not there. All right. Yeah. So, and this is the interesting thing. How does the average Aussie think that $500 a year? How do they think $500 a year is going to help them financially? And this is not like a a judgment. This is a conversation. This is something, let me go here, like the gap is massive, right? The gap of here, $500, right? That's the cap, not the gap. The gap is massive, to understanding wealth and money, over time. The gap is huge, right? For me, I believe the gap here, is an issue with like knowledge, right? Knowledge, comfort, understanding of what it is. Yep. Get a coach. Dead right, Alison. Dead right. So I think the thing in here, there's this conversation, and I've done this once or twice before, where, what do I get? Do I get advice? Do I get a coach? Do I get a mentor? Or do I get someone who has done it? Let's call it someone experienced, all right? Experience. And I'll just give you an example in this sort of space right here. Now, in the world of property investing, you might find someone who, has bought 8 properties, right? And they've got experience, and they might, be a mentor. Now, this person may have built their property portfolio on, let's say renovating. Nothing wrong with renovating. It's a strategy that works a treat. Many people make a lot of money out of it, and works absolutely fine. It's not my strategy. I dislike renovating. I'm not a renovator. It takes too much of my time, right? I prefer something else. So I've got a different strategy, right? So if you pick up a mentor, that says the only way to do it is to buy and renovate, but you don't have the time nor the inclination, will that work, right? So this is the thing when we as investors need to understand, what is advice. And in the world of, in our world, you get advice from financial planners, you get advice from accountants, all right, and you get advice from finance brokers, right? They're licensed, and sadly, well, maybe not sadly, more importantly, they are restricted legally with a framework. I don't necessarily agree with the framework, but they have a framework which is designed to keep you safe, probably, in my experience, extremely conservative. Okay, so that's fine, nothing wrong with that. But if that's the limit, the limit to your engagement, then, if you go to a financial planner and say, oh, I'm going to start a business and I want to start Facebook or whatever, right? They won't say, oh, well done, get into it, be an entrepreneur, go. That's a really safe financial idea. They won't, and they're not licensed to. Accountant might help you out. They might go, oh, we'll make sure the numbers work or whatever. A finance broker is like, well, if you quit your job and start your own business, you can't borrow money, so I wouldn't do that, right? So these advisors, very well meaning, in their swim lanes, in their boxes, we've got to understand the extent of their capacity, right? A coach, by the way, a coach is someone who can go, well, let's expand this idea and come up with strategies and ideas, help you brainstorm, and then you find the right people to do the right things at the right time for you, all right? But again, all of that is us as investors understanding what investment would we make to go from 0 to, $3 to $5 to $10 million worth of wealth over here. Understanding the gap and understanding what to invest in and when is pretty important. But listen, at the end of the day, all of you know this. All of you are very aware of, which I think is great, get the right team. Alison talking about it here. We've talked about it for a while. I talk about the 6-star team, folks. You need to have a 6-star team. The team that are on the same page, helping you go forward with your chosen direction. And, they don't argue with each other. They get together and they help you get where you want to go. All right. So there you go. Anyway, that's about it from me today. Wealth Coffee Chat done and dusted. I think, let's turn that one off. What do you think? Well, I know what most of you think listening in right now. Listen, if you want to make $10 million, you need to find someone who knows about making $10 million. And someone you pay $500 a year to is not wealthy from investing, right? So anyway, that's a whole nother Wealth Coffee Chat. We'll do that one another time. Anyway, there you go, folks. Yeah, that's right. Find those people, Brendan. Not only find them, but make sure there's like some coaching framework around it. And this is the part that I think is pretty important too. A mad mentor, which can be a mad scientist, if they don't have some frameworks to help you understand what you're up to and apply the knowledge and so on, then they can send you down the garden path as well. I've found over time. Anyway, Wealth Coffee Chat done and dusted. Plenty going on today. Join me tomorrow. David, certainly if you're in the world of real estate, certainly the world of property investing, David. Where you go. So hey, thanks for joining us, folks. Really appreciate you guys along this morning. Join me tomorrow for another Wealth Coffee Chat. We do it each day. Jason, you didn't remember that. Now you do. That's it. We're done, folks. Join me tomorrow. You guys be awesome and well. Till then, bye for now.